There's a special kind of horror that doesn't come from monsters or ghosts. It comes from not being believed. You see something, you feel the danger closing in, and everyone around you just smiles and tells you to calm down. Today, we're looking at TV horror movies where nobody believes you, forgotten thrillers and ghost stories that turn disbelief into the real nightmare. In 1981's No Place to Hide, Kathleen Beller plays Amy, an art student who can't shake the feeling that someone's following her. A man in black keeps appearing out of nowhere, whispering the same phrase, "Soon, Amy, soon." But when she turns to the police, her stepmother, even her psychiatrist, they tell her it's stress or guilt or something in her head. The more she insists she's in danger, the crazier she starts to look. And that's exactly what someone is counting on. Directed by Lee Phillips and airing on CBS, No Place to Hide is a classic early 80s psychological thriller where paranoia becomes a trap, and every reassurance just makes things worse. Before Halloween made him a household name, John Carpenter wrote and directed this tense little made-for-TV thriller for NBC. Lauren Hutton plays Lee Michaels, a young television director who moves into a sleek Los Angeles high-rise and starts getting phone calls from a man who knows too much about her. The gifts, the letters, the telescope across the way, it's all there, and no one around her seems to take it seriously. The police say there's no crime, her friends think she's imagining it, and the walls start to feel like they're closing in. Carpenter turns that everyday helplessness into slow, creeping dread. A smart, stylish thriller that feels uncomfortably modern for something made in 1978. Classically trained, two-time Oscar winner, and no stranger to playing women on the edge, Olivia de Havilland stars in The Screaming Woman, a made-for-TV thriller about isolation, perception, and the danger of not being believed. She plays Laura Wynant, a wealthy woman recently returned home from a sanitarium, where she spent time recovering from an unspecified mental breakdown. She's stable now, or so she claims, but the people around her seem more comfortable keeping her quietly out of the way. While walking the grounds of her estate, Laura hears something buried underground, a woman's voice, faint and panicked.
Oh my God!
She tries to raise the alarm, but no one takes her seriously.
That's enough! Mother, come on!
You can still save her, please! No, you can...
She really didn't make much sense, did she?
Her doctors say she's overreacting. Kids run away. Her staff writes it off as nerves. And with every hour that passes, the screaming grows weaker. De Havilland plays it straight, anchoring the story with a brittle dignity that gradually cracks as the isolation sets in. Joseph Cotten appears in a supporting role, but this is Olivia's show, and she carries it without leaning on camp or spectacle. Just a woman who's lost her credibility and may be the only one who knows the truth. The horror comes not from what's buried, but from how easily she's dismissed and how helpless that makes her. At first glance, it looks like a typical teen thriller. A high school girl starts receiving threatening notes, the phone keeps ringing, and no one around her seems to take it seriously. But Are You in the House Alone slowly reveals itself to be something much darker. Beneath the made-for-TV pacing and soft-focus lighting is a story about sexual assault, trauma, denial, and how the people you trust can sometimes be the ones to fear. It never gets explicit, this was still network TV, but the implications are heavy, especially for a movie airing on CBS in 1978. Starring Kathleen Beller in her second movie on this list, as well as a young Dennis Quaid in one of his earliest TV roles. It's not a great movie, but it lingers. Less for what it shows, and more for the subject matter, especially in the context of when and how it was broadcast. Premiering on ABC in October of 1970 and produced by Aaron Spelling, The House That Would Not Die stars Barbara Stanwyck as a woman who moves into a colonial-era home in Pennsylvania with her niece, played by Kitty Wynn. Almost immediately, the house seems off. Strange noises, disembodied voices, and a lingering presence that won't let go. Richard Egan co-stars as a local professor and neighbor who guides the women through the house's dark past. There's a seance, there's possession, and the question isn't just whether the house is haunted, but whether it's using its new occupants to settle old scores. The vibe is quiet and eerie, built on silence, stares, and just enough jolts to keep everyone guessing. As the past begins to seep into the present, the house tightens its grip, and whatever's buried in the home's history, violent, unfinished, and unresolved, refuses to stay silent. It looks like a normal suburban setup. New house, fresh start, trying to move on after a family tragedy. But Don't Go to Sleep doesn't stay quiet for long. The youngest daughter starts talking to her dead sister.
Mom, it's me. No. No!
And before anyone can make sense of it, the rest of the family begins to suffer a string of strange, deadly accidents. Premiering on ABC in December of 1982, the movie stars Valerie Harper, Dennis Weaver, and Ruth Gordon. There's no ghost in a sheet, just a creeping feeling that something in the house wants revenge. The tension builds in small, unsettling moments, and it's the kind of terror that gets under your skin because it feels so personal. Grief, guilt, and something unspoken worm their way through every scene. By the end, you're not sure what's worse, the haunting itself, or the family it's feeding on. ABC kicked off the decade with one of the first truly supernatural TV movies, Crowhaven Farm. Hope Lang plays a woman who inherits a quiet farmhouse in New England, only to discover that the land is hiding a very dark past. Strange neighbors, eerie visions, and whispers of old witch trials make it clear she's not exactly moving into a fixer-upper. What makes it memorable isn't just the witchcraft angle, but how it starts like a daytime soap that slowly mutates into a nightmare. By the time the past starts bleeding into the present, you realize you've been pulled into something much stranger than a typical haunted house story. Past life visions, secret rituals, and a growing suspicion that she's somehow been here before. And by the time you realize what the townspeople really want from her, it's already too late. This House Possessed blends glossy soap opera, stalker thriller, and supernatural horror into one of the strangest haunted house TV movies of its era. First airing on ABC in February of 1981, Parker Stevenson stars as a pop singer recovering from a breakdown who rents a secluded high-tech mansion to get some rest. He brings along his young nurse, played by Lisa Eilbacher, but the house seems to have its own plans for her. Rooms light up on their own. The security system seems alive, and before long, the house is behaving less like a structure and more like a jealous, possessive presence, watching, isolating, and punishing anyone who gets in the way. Despite the title, it's not clear whether the house is possessed, sentient, or simply haunted by its past. What is clear is that it doesn't like being told no. The deaths get stranger, the visions more intense, and the house's obsession with Lisa becomes the real source of terror. Not everything makes sense, but for a TV movie about a lovesick murder mansion, it doesn't have to. 1985's Deadly Messages starts with a Ouija board and somehow ends with a full psychological breakdown and electroshock therapy in between. Kathleen Beller stars as Laura, a woman whose roommate is murdered right after using the board to contact a ghost named David. But when the police arrive, there's no body, no crime scene, and no one believes her. From there, it unravels fast. strange attacks, shifting identities, and revelations that Laura may have escaped from a mental hospital and stolen someone else's life. Dennis Franz turns up as one of the skeptical cops, adding to the sense that no one around her is quite on her side. It's messy, melodramatic, and exactly the kind of movie that makes you want to ask, who approved this script, and what messages were they getting? One of the strangest and most disturbing made-for-TV movies ever aired, Bad Ronald premiered on ABC in 1974 and quickly earned a reputation as a cult oddity. Scott Jacoby stars as Ronald, a socially awkward teen who accidentally kills a neighbor girl and hides inside a secret room in his house, even after his mother dies and a new family moves in. The movie's strength is how it builds tension through claustrophobia and warped perspective. You spend most of the time with Ronald, watching as he spies on the unsuspecting family through peepholes and slowly descends into a fantasy world of his own creation. It's low budget and tame by today's standards, but the concept is undeniably creepy. What makes Bad Ronald linger is how mundane everything feels. A suburban nightmare hiding just behind the walls.